Hello everyone, welcome back to Center Stand Mechanics. My name is Kyle, and today I'm going to be doing some more work on the xs650 Ultimate Zombie Apocalypse bike. I want to show you my new muffler I put on there. First and foremost, it's pretty cool. But I also been doing some jetting to the carb and stuff, and trying to get it to run a little better than when I first put that single carb intake on it. I've been riding it to work and stuff, and riding it around town, and it's definitely running a lot better. It goes like stank with that carb on there. It's the idle is a little bit weak, and then coming off of idle it was boggy. And I was just trying to smooth that out. Everything else, like once it gets up on the main, it flies like you wouldn't believe. Like that part goes way better than the dual carb setup I had on there before. So, which were the stock carbs. It was these ones here. I believe these are the BS38s. You know. So, but. And the one I got on there is a 34 type, you know, like with the cable pull slide, and you know, so it'll work better with the pod filter I got on there. And it yeah, it definitely opens right up. I just was playing around with the jets, and originally when I first started up, I thought it was too lean on the pilot jet, and possibly too rich on the main, but it ended up being the opposite of that. I had to come down on the pilot jet quite a bit actually, and then open up the main jet, and then that seems to kind of get it into its happy place. I'll explain a little bit of that. So I ended up getting a little jet kit here, and this is like the main jet kit. I got two different. I got the pilot jets and the main jets, two separate kits, and these pilot jets fit no problem, but these mains, they look the same, but they're a different thread count on the so they wouldn't thread into the thing. So I ended up having to drill out the main. And what I ended up doing is I needed to know what size was on these carbs, the ones that came off, because it ran okay. It just didn't run very good with the pod filters on there. So the jetting was pretty close on these carbs. So I kind of used these as a baseline to figure out my jetting, just so I was, wasn't wandering all over the place. So yeah, here's the main jet. Yeah, so this main jet, if you look at it, it's a 135 that came out of this set of carbs. And so what I ended up doing is this, was the style of jet that came out of that Amazon carb that's on there right now, and it was too small. What I did is I sized up a drill bit that just fit down into here. So I got a really small drill bit set right here, and they're all go from really small up to fairly large. So I just kept grabbing one and putting it in here, and just barely could get this one in, right? So then I knew this was pretty much the size, and then I took the the jet off of that carb, and it wouldn't go down, so I ended up just lightly twisting this in until it finally went through, you know, and then held them both up, and they both looked the same, right? So that's how I opened up the main jet on the carb. And then this is the pilot jet that came out of that carb, and it's actually fairly large compared to the xs650 carb. It doesn't have a stamp on here, but I would call it's got to be around a 40 or a 42, 45, somewhere in there, because, you know, it would run, but it was real choppy on the idle, and it was just, you know, it just seemed really, you could smell a lot of fuel in the exhaust and stuff. So I decided to check and see what this one was, and this pilot jet right here is a 27.5, so it's a lot smaller. And when I took it out and I held the two up, you could tell that this one was quite a bit larger. So then I got this jet kit, and it ranges between, here's the range here, it ranges from 12.5 all the way up to 60. So in there was a 27.5, which is, I think, which is this one. I put it in here. So I put this one in, and it actually ran a lot better, and, you know, and it got rid of most of that bogginess on the bottom. I don't know how to explain it, why it would do that, but it seemed to run a lot better, and I was able to ride it to work. I think I rode it to work like most of the week on that jet, but it still smelled a little bit rich in the you know, in the exhaust when it was running at idle. So I thought, well, maybe it's a little bit too big still. So then I dropped down to a 22. You know, it's somewhere in there, but I dropped down to where was it? Yeah, 22.5. And I rode it to work. That was probably yesterday. I rode it to work, and it didn't run very good. It had that thing where it took a while to come back to idle. Like it would rev up, and it wouldn't settle very well. So it was too lean, is what I'm saying. You could tell you know, I was able to ride it there and ride it back. Like I only work 5 minutes from my house, so it's not like, you know, I was running it a long time or anything, but it just didn't seem right. So I figured, well, then I probably went, you know, too low, and then got it home, and then I ended up putting the 25 in there, and I haven't tried it out much because it started raining, and it was late last night. I was like, well, so today I want to, you know, ride it around a bit and try the 25. It's going to be close, you know. It might not, you know, it might never be perfect. Oh, another thing I did yesterday is when I was on the 22.5, I started playing with the needle height, and I dropped it down, like I dropped the clip down, and didn't like the way it ran. It was too rich. It was backfiring and grumbling in the exhaust when at certain points of the throttle it would, you could hear it backfiring in there, so it was too rich. And then I lifted the clip up, and then I didn't like the way it ran then. It just didn't seem right, so then I ended up putting it back in the center, put the 25 in it, and then then it was too late. So I'm going to try it a bit today on that. So yeah, and then so I figure the main that's in there right now, it's got to be around 140. Like this is a 135, so it's somewhere between 135 and 145, just because, you know, I don't know exactly how big this drill bit is, but it's, you know, this is a 135, and I don't think it quite fit. It barely, I think I found one that was just, you know, slightly bigger. So this, ended up being slightly bigger than the 135, if you know what I mean. So I'm thinking it's got to be about a 140, 145 that's in there right now. Yeah, so that's where I'm at with the carburetor jetting. And what else am I gonna do today? Oh yeah, I got this chain here. So bike's getting a new chain. This is a bulk roll of motorcycle chain. It's a 530 chain, and I should get 5 chains out of this for 5 different bikes, or 5 chains for that bike. I have a couple of bikes that take this size of chain, and it was like $160. So on Amazon. So, and it's not probably the top quality chain. It's just a basic chain, but I got 5 chains for the price of 1 chain in a way. So, but I've got multiple bikes here and stuff, and you never know when you need to throw a chain on something. So I went with the bulk chain there. So I'm gonna be putting that on today. And and I got this throttle cable. This throttle cable here. I think it's slightly longer than the red one that's on the bike, and this one has the bend. So if you look at it, it's got that metal bend when it comes out of the throttle grip. The other one just comes straight, and it causes this cable to loop down, and it just, to me, it just seems like it's going to get snagged on something and doesn't look clean. So this one should be a little slimmer, and I think the whole overall length is a little bit longer, slightly longer. So which is what you don't want it too long, and you don't want it too short. It's got to be right in that happy length. So I'm gonna try to get that on today, and yeah, and then I want to show you this exhaust. So some of you purists out there might think I've gone too far, but keep in mind this bike was destined for the junkyard when I got it. It was seized up, and I basically saved it from the dead, and it's kind of a theme bike, and a fun bike for me to work on. So I'm not trying to build a silk purse out of it or anything. And the exhaust that I had on there, like the muffler that was on there, the baffle was blowing on it, and to get a new one of those is, I priced them out, and it's hard to find just the piece that fits on there. And I was looking at at least a couple $100, if not $300 for exhaust on that bike, and a new exhaust wouldn't suit that bike, if you know what I mean. It needed something kind of chunky and steampunk, and so and in a practical sense, I needed something quiet, because I get up super early to work, and I live close to all my neighbors here, and I got to start the bike up at 5 in the morning kind of thing. And so I didn't want to be firing up this obnoxious bike at 5 in the morning, waking everybody up, because that's just not cool, right? So I needed something on there that was quieter, and just kind of suited the project. So keep that in mind. But I think it's cool, and most of the people I show think it's kind of cool. But yeah, so without further ado, let's go have a look at this thing, and you can see it for yourselves. All right, there we go. Ta-da! There she is in all its glory. So I ended up going with I just got a cheap off-the-shelf car muffler from Canadian Tire. I got a couple exhaust fittings that fit over the header that was already on here. I even used the clamp I had on here from before. I just put it onto a piece of pipe fitting that fit over this this header, clamped it down. That's nice and solid. And then I ended up welding it here to this fitting. I made another bracket. So this exhaust bracket, this exhaust clamp is actually just holding the exhaust to a bracket that I made that's bolted to this piece of the frame right here. And I wanted to keep the foot peg. I don't plan on having a lot of passengers, but I just like the option of you know, if I had to have a passenger, I can flick that down. It's kind of close to the exhaust, so it might be a bit of a foot warmer. You know, I might look into putting a guard here or something, just to, if I plan on having a lot of passengers. But for now, it's there like that. And then, yeah, and I just welded this tip on here. And yeah, pretty simple, pretty cheap, and it's definitely a lot quieter than it was. It sounds really like deep and low and like blah, 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 blah. Like it's actually got a really cool sound to it. I'm quite happy with it. And I probably will put another hanger here. I'm working out some different boxes and stuff, and I think there might be some kind of brackets going in here. I'm not sure if I'm keeping this rack or anything, so I haven't decided yet, because I haven't really even started looking into this project yet. But eventually there'll be something here, and I'll probably drop something down to hang this and to grab this part of the exhaust. But for now, it's super solid on there. It's you know, I've been riding it around like that, but I would like to have another clamp on here. But it's, you know, it's on there, and I'm gonna start it up for you. But you're gonna have to wait till the end of the video, because that's how I get you to watch. But I'm just gonna throw a chain on this thing, and then fire on this throttle cable, and then we'll fire it up. But yeah, pretty cool, eh? Yeah, I was trying to find online and like on YouTube if anybody's ever put a car exhaust on a bike before, because I just kind of wanted to see what they did, and you know, the results that they had with it, and if they had any troubles with it. And I couldn't find anybody on there that's done that. I've seen people put motorcycle exhausts on cars, but not car exhausts on bikes before. So I don't know, maybe I'm the first one. I don't know, maybe I'm not crazy. But you know, hey, if it works, is it a bad idea? I don't know. Oh yeah, and it came with this cool sticker, Thrush. It's like, it's got the woodpecker on there, and you know, it's the kind of muffler you'd put on your old muscle car and ride around the neighborhood. So I think it's kind of cool to me. But let's get started on putting this chain on, and then we'll fire it up for you, okay? Okay, so I'm gonna get to work on loosening these chain tensioners off and get the wheel forward. I'm gonna try that thing where you hook the new chain onto the old chain and pull it through, and then take the old chain off, and then size up the new one, and I'll have to cut it and drive the pin out and everything, and then put the master link in. So that's the plan. So I'm gonna back these off. Let's see which way. There we go. Back these off a bunch. And I made sure that this exhaust was up clear of this axle. nut here because I wanted to be able to, you know, get at it. I didn't have to take the exhaust off to get the back wheel off. Gonna loosen this off a bit. There we go. Back these all the way out. Okay. There. 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 Yeah, just clip this on like so. Here comes the new part, like so. Okay. So this is the one I have to take out, right? Right there. 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 All right, and then the direction of the chain is that way, so you want to put it on there like so. And then we'll set our tension. Yeah. And then once I tighten it down, I'll just double check it, because they seem to tighten up a little bit when you tighten them. And then I'll have to check it because a new chain will probably stretch a little bit at first. New cotter pin going in. Like so. Sometimes you can just pull that forward with your hand, wind it in. pretty good there. Perfect. Okay, so chain done. Okay, so I've got the new throttle cable I want to put on here. And I have to kind of make it fit a little bit. So this is too thick to go up into the slot for the where this would normally go, and I had to do this on the other one that's on there right now, so I had to kind of machine this down in a way that it's thinner, and then I can put this nut back to where it's at, say around, you know, it might only be about right there, and then this part's thinner and it will slide up in there, and then I'll be able to use it. I think this little ball on the end is a little bit too wide too. I'll probably have to shave it down just a little bit on the ends, but that's about it there. And then the working length is not long enough, like it's all the way pulled, and I think I need to somehow, I'm not sure how I'm going to do this, but I gotta trim this casing back a little bit so I have a little more working length, because if I hook it up the way it is, I think it's going to be, the throttle's already going to be lifted up, like it won't rest back down at idle properly. So those are the things. And of course I can't go and buy one for what I got going on, because they don't, I mean, what I'm doing is not, there is no throttle cable for that. So at least in my searches, I searched pretty hard to find something that would work, and the problem is these carbs have a butterfly valve, and they take a different end on here, right? And because I'm using a cable slide, I need the smaller tip to go down inside you need this kind of a tip, and the xs650 cables all have this type of ball on each end, and that won't fit down into the carburetor and sit properly. You need this little tiny little nub on there. So that's what I have here. So I'm gonna make this one work, and yeah, that should be fine. So just gotta work this down like so. Okay, so I'm just switching this part out here. Maybe if I line this in a little bit, I'll get a little extra. That's there. Sounds like it's hitting the... the only way to check for sure is to take this pod filter off and just have a look in there. Don't want to start it and then have it, you know, wind up on me. Oh yeah, it looks like it's at the bottom. Yeah, it's just like long enough. There's like no play in it though. Huh. There's a tiny little bit of play. That might just work. Yeah, just making sure this is tight and all the way at the back. Yeah, so now there's just a little bit of free play and you can hear it dropping down. I think that's gonna work great. Alright, so this, just gonna put a little zip tie around this boot so it doesn't get fouled up. And then probably put a zip tie right there. Yeah. Okay. Just to help hold that in place. That's a lot better. So I think we're good in there. Okay, here's the moment you all been waiting for. Just gotta turn my fuel on, dual petcocks, and then put the key in. Okay, a little bit of choke. For a cold start. I haven't run it yet today. Just condensation coming out of the exhaust right now. That cable throttle is getting tight. No. Might be some of the carb settings here. Well, that was a weird problem to figure out and solve. So you seen just a moment ago there, the throttle was, or it was hanging up high. It was, you know, and then I had to shut it off. So I'm not 100% sure, but what I think was happening is, with the way that carb is, it's not really meant for this sort of setup. But what I think what was happening is the amount of vacuum that was going through the carb when it was running, it was pulling so hard through the carb, it was causing the throttle slide to jam, most likely against the base of the carb, and just kind of hold up a little bit from idle, because it kept doing it, and I was messing around with it. I even went back to the 27.5 jet to see if that was the problem, because maybe that 25 was like like a wrong size or something, but that wasn't it. And then it wasn't until I took the pod filter off, and then I kind of held my thumb against the slide while it was running, and then when I shut it off, as soon as it stopped, the slide would drop. As soon as the engine quit, the slide went down like a millimeter back to the resting point. So yeah, so I guess it was pulling so hard through there that it was just jamming. It was getting cockeyed or something. I don't know. I've never seen that before. Maybe you guys know what I'm talking about. It was weird to me, but that's how I figured it out. I was, I'd hold my thumb against it, turn it off, and then boop, you would feel it just go that little bit, and it kept doing that. So what I ended up doing is I dug around, and I found another spring, like a smaller diameter spring that would go inside the spring that was there for the throttle. So now it's got two springs, between the top of the carb and the throttle, so it's pushing extra hard. Plus I cleaned in there, so there might have been a crumb of dust or something in there that was causing it to jam too. That's a possibility, because I did clean in there, and I sanded any edges that I thought might be hanging up on. So the combination of that and the extra spring, I think I've got it sorted out. So we'll take you back outside, show you, because I think it's running pretty good now. So keep my fingers crossed. Okay, fuel's on already, so just gotta turn the key, bump the starter. Yeah, good, idle's nice and low. Good there. The engine's a little bit warm because I was just running it, but yeah, it's looking good now. Start a new trend. Close your cards off on your bike. Pretty cool. Yeah. So I think that's working good now. I was getting worried. Yeah, so I think that issue's solved. It was just a weird random. I didn't expect it to do that, actually. It was kind of weird, but so that's sorted out. And yeah, so yeah, what do you think of my car exhaust on the bike? I hope you like it. I know some of you guys might think I've crossed the line there, but for this build, I'm not gonna put a car exhaust on every bike I got. Just the zombie apocalypse ones, because it's cool. I think it's cool, and I think it sounds really cool. And we'll see how it goes. We'll get some use out of it, and hopefully I don't have any problems with it. I'm gonna get that other bracket on the back because there's a lot of weight kind of hanging there, but like I said, I'm gonna figure out some boxes on there, and when I do that, I'll put another hanger at the very end there, help carry some of that weight, because it's not super heavy, but it's a lot of weight just hanging off that one joint. Yeah, so I hope you enjoyed the video, and I want to thank you for watching, and please like and subscribe. It really helps my channel out, and hope to see you in the next video. Center Stand Mechanics out.